So you want to know what my first time was like having a past life regression? Well, we want something a little like this. Hi, this is Jessica at Spirit Exploration. So my very first past life regression was several years ago by now, but it was still one of my favorites, and I hold it really dear to my heart because it really helped me trust or believe in this whole process. And it turned out to be much more than I was expecting, even despite the life being a bit simple. So in the past life regression, the first thing I saw was myself as a 5-year-old. I noticed little freckles on my face. That was one of the things that stood out. And I remember being in this really big, sprawling field of strawberries, and I could tell that it was my parents' property. And I was just picking strawberries with my dog, which was a schnauzer. And I was like holding him and petting him and confiding in him. He was my best friend. We were like sharing stories. Like I felt like he could talk to me, and I felt like I could talk to him. And I tell him my little secrets, whatever secrets a 5-year-old has. Like I secretly had a cookie. But what else stood out on the first scene was just how vivid the details were for me. I wouldn't say it's like that for everyone. It's not always like that in all my past lives, but for this one it really was. I remember like holding the strawberry and seeing all the seeds. I remember the smell, I remember the taste, I remember the juices running down my arm and how sticky it was. I remember laying in the grass, looking up at the sky and just feeling infinity, and watching the clouds, and then like rolling around in the grass and playing with the grass blades. It was really such a liberating feeling, and it felt really good to tap into that childlike spontaneity again and just curiosity. It was a really beautiful first scene. The next scene I remember, which kind of put things a little bit more in focus, as I was like looking around me, I could start to see what people were dressed in and how I was dressed. And I realized that it was about the 1940s or 50s. I was in my late teens at that time, and I was at this party. And this party was actually arranged so my parents could try to introduce me to a suitor that they were hoping I'd marry because he was from a wealthy family. I remember seeing him and thinking that he was, kind of good looking, but I didn't know him, so it felt so strange to say yes to someone that you hardly know. But I do remember feeling this pressure from society just to conform to what was expected of me in that time, because women didn't have that much, they didn't have many prospects, and it was just in my best interest to marry someone who was on the wealthier side of things. But I do remember, internally, the emotions I was having in those moments about what I really wanted for my life. And what was coming up for me is that I wanted to experience more before committing to anyone or having my life chosen for me. I remember that I wanted to travel, I wanted to have adventures, and I felt like I couldn't say anything because there wasn't that opportunity. I didn't want to be confined to a small town, a small life, a small existence, but I did end up marrying him though. So then moving forward, the next scene I could see myself a little bit older. I was in my home that I shared with my husband, and I realized I had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and I remember watching them from the window playing outside. But as I was watching them play, I had these feelings coming up about I love my children, but I don't actually love being a mother, which was kind of like a conflicting feeling. And I did feel some guilt around that. Also, when I was thinking about my relationship with my husband, I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do to make it work. It's not like it ever was filled with any passion or connection. It was just marital obligation, more or less, which kind of just made my life feel bland. I spent a lot of time daydreaming. That seemed to be my favorite pastime. And I would write in my journal all these really imaginative stories about travel and adventure, and then I would shove them in a drawer, and like they were a dirty secret. If anyone was coming, I'd close the book and shove it in the drawer. And I just felt like like my desires, our feelings weren't worthy, that it was never going to happen, and it was even foolish to think that I could have even any of those things come to life or fruition. And I remember just really wanting to go to Venice, Italy, and having this suitcase in my room that I never could use, and just thinking what this suitcase could do, like where it could go. Like the stories were all about this suitcase. But basically, yes, I fantasized so much about Venice, Italy. It was my ultimate wish. So the last scene of my life, I saw myself older. I had some dementia, and I was feeling these emotions of being quite confused and forgetting things. And I remember one scene where I kind of forgot that the kettle was on the stove, and it kind of caused like a bit of commotion in the house because it could have turned into quite a dangerous situation. And then what happened next was a scene where I fell down the stairs and I hit my head so badly, and it seemed to be the end of me, my demise. It was the last thing I saw before I left my body. And then as I left my body, I could still see what was happening below me, I guess we could put it that way. And I saw my husband like running to my side and scooping me up in his arms and just sobbing. And just, I could feel his love for me. It was so intense. And in that moment, I had this realization that his love was actually a gift for me, and that I didn't appreciate it. It didn't live up to the ideals I wanted for my life, and I just had like this awakening, like that I actually had a lot more good happening for me than I was aware of. And I started to have all this sadness and this overwhelming love for my husband in that moment that I couldn't then reciprocate or show. I was crying a lot at this point in my past life regression because I had all this sorrow and sadness for not like realizing what was always there for me, something that I took for granted. So after that scene, after all that sobbing and everything, I did finally disconnect from that life, and I went out and hung out with my spirit guides, or higher self, or whatever gets to your heart there, just to review the life I've just seen and to pull from it like all the lessons and guidance that can help me in my current life, so I don't make the same mistakes or stumble again upon the same things. It kind of puts you back on the right path and directs your focus to what's important to know in this moment. So what I saw, some of the significance are similarities about my past life and current life, was a sense of adventure. I do remember the scene when I was talking to my younger self, and I was telling her that although she didn't get to live out all her dreams and desires in that life, I told her, like, it doesn't matter. I took over for you. I'm an extension of you, and I did it for you in this life. Like, I fulfilled those dreams. I traveled a lot. And I'd been to Venice. And I remember her looking back at me and feeling so happy and satisfied that I did the things that she couldn't, but still we're the same. And I was telling her that. I'm like, but you are me and I am you, and we did it. And she was smiling and she was so happy, and she was holding her dog and laughing and talking to her dog. It was a really cute scene. Other things are, I told her that I'm really independent in this life and no one makes decisions for me. I live the way I want to, and I don't bend to fit into the social norm. She really loved that. And the final words to the story, I guess, would be that she also gave me advice. And she told me to not let go of that childlike curiosity and spontaneity, and to always keep life bright and to not overlook the ones that love us, because love is not an obligation but actually a gift. And that really made me stop and think for a while about that, and I think she's right. So it was a beautiful first past life regression, and I will never forget it. And I hope if you haven't had a past life regression yourself yet, that you're open to having one by hearing my story. Not all past life regressions will be the same. They're all different. I've had several. Each one of them has taught me something new about an aspect of myself. So even if you've had one, definitely be open to having another, because there's endless amount of knowledge we can gain from them. So that's my story. Well, one of them. There have been many. And of course, if you'd like to hear more, let me know. Definitely give me a like, subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you've had a past life regression you'd like to share, I would love to hear it. And if you're new to past life regressions and are looking to find a practitioner, I'm here for you. And if you're looking for your next past life regression, because you know there's always more, feel free to email me as well. Anyways, that's it for now. I hope you have enjoyed my story, and I'll be around. I'll be back. Talk to you later.